Okay, so you're all very welcome. Sarah, we're delighted to have you.
It's wonderful to be here, Paul. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, first question I want to ask you is, we want to get into this work that you guys are doing with Aduco and with Tony Quinn and stuff like that, but I want to go back in your own life a little bit and ask you about, you had quite a kind of interesting life before you came into all this. You had a film, you were working in the film career. I know you were in New York. I remember you mentioned Tribeca, all this kind of thing. So I just want to ask you, in terms of your own, we'll talk a little bit about how your life was and how busy your life was and what kind of in the industry you were in, but also to ask you, were you a spiritual seeker? Where did your life lead you at that time, and how did it all flow for you at that point?
I suppose, I would say from a very young age as a child, I was always fascinated by what the real purpose of life was. And I actually remember as a kid, I used to say to my mom, I said, Mom, it's like there's something going on over here that people are missing. I said, everyone's looking in this direction. The real stuff is going on over here. And my mom would say, well, look, you're nuts. Just go out and play. Forget about it. You're fine. And I had my godfather when I was young used to say things to me when I was a kid, and he'd say, you know what, Sarah, the only moment that you can depend on is the one right now. And he said, that's all you need to know. And he'd say things like that to me, or he'd talk about following the light. He used to talk about how sunflowers are the most incredible flowers because their only job in the world is to follow the light. So I suppose I always had this seeking part of me, knowing there had to be something more. And I had a very, as you've alluded to, I had a very varied career and background and everything. And I think part of that was probably an attempt to search for that more within all these different places in my life. And I thought, I had a vision actually of going to New York. I had a vision that going to New York would be a really good thing to do. And I saw myself literally being carried across the Atlantic Ocean and landing in New York. So I went there and I went to drama school and I studied acting, and I had a film production company, and I actually had a film that screened at Cannes a number of years ago. I did a bit of acting. I had a whole